Hey all, so I am getting up to speed with delegates in C#, and I thought I'd just share this tutorial as I go and I'm learning. So if you see things that I could do better, please tell me in the comments. But here's a basic implementation of delegates. Okay, so first off, we want to create a void method that returns the given delegate type within C#. So let's say we start off with delegate. And we want to give it the name of our delegate. So let's say my example, I'm going to use notifications. Maybe users could choose to be notified of some calendar event by email, SMS, even a phone, but I'm just going to do email and SMS or text message. Okay, so let's say notification delegate, just to make it really explicit. And then the parameters or arguments it takes are going to be applicable to all, right? So this is where your decision making has to be clear about what you're trying to do. So let me just say, I'll say string type. Okay, so this is the base for which all the delegates hang off. Okay, now if I put that down, because I need to put it below, the next thing we're then going to do is to implement two or more anonymous functions. So using the arrow notation, and they have the same type. You could do multiple of these. I'm just going to do two for this example. And the return type is the delegate we've made down here. So let's see, notification delegate. Let's call this first one email notification. So, and as I said, it's going to be an anonymous, a bit like a JavaScript function. So let's put equals string, let's say notification type. Okay, put my arrow. So let's just write that out. So there's CW, use that snippet, and then I'll use my argument. Okay. This is so basic, right? But let's see. And then if I do the same, let's just change that then to SMS. And okay, so we've started off by making our own type of delegate. Then we're making our anonymous functions that return our own delegate type. I push them down. And now the next step is to make a void function that takes our delegate type that we've created as an argument or as a parameter. And usually it's static. So I'm going to do static void. In this case, let me just call it notify. All right. And so then I'm going to take the notification delegate. Let's call it notification. And now we call it in here. So I'll put notification and then let's put a string. Okay. Okay, make it more sense. So if I look now, this can be a bit confusing, but anyway, let's keep going. All right, so now down below, let's call the notify void function we've made and pass in one of our notification delegate anonymous functions that we've made. So let's have a look at this running. Now, this one thing about delegates is it's not really clear to debug. So let me just put that. At least you don't get the same clarity when you're debugging as you would with standard ways of doing this. So if I press F5, I put a breakpoint there just so we can see. Now my console's popped up over here. That's fine. Okay. So if you look down here, this is what I was saying about the debugging. If you're used to debugging with all these things, because we're using functions of this type, things get a little bit confusing. Okay, so but we can't really debug them here in this same way as usual. So we're just going to work with it and see what happens. Now, so let's say I'm calling the notify function, which is here, and email notification is what I'm passing in. So think calling notify, and then that needs a type notification delegate, and it's called notification. So I'm specifying that I'm going to pass in this email notification, and it's going to do this, right? So right line notification type is email. And then in the body, again, we're actually calling this. This is where I find a bit confusing. You might think that there's the order here would be that this would action, or this would be processed, and then this, but actually it's the reverse. Okay, so you're going to see user notification and then is email. So let's step over. User notification is email. So look, what we're doing here, we're printing this first because the action here is to then print the notification type. So this is the argument that's going to email notification, right? This becomes the notification type, which is then printed here and is followed by this string. Okay, it's all a little bit hard to follow, right? But let's just have another look. And so user notification is email. Okay, fine. Now if I just, oops, copy and paste, let's put in instead SMS notification. And let's see, they should both print. And there you go. User notification is SMS for the first one, is email for the second. What I found very difficult about this at first was actually to try and follow the pattern, because you can't really debug them very clearly, and then the order of the implementation does get very confusing. And don't forget as well, you're going to be doing something a bit more complex than this. I mean, this might be, let's say, printing out to a log what type of notification, and so this might not be that clear, but when you get into it, at least as I understand it, you're going to be doing something more complex, and it'll make more sense when you have a specific use case. But this is the basic idea. So to fully recap on the order we did things and how. So let's say the first step was to actually make our own, let's call it, and again, tell me the correct naming convention, but generic delegate type, right? So the argument's got to be something that's going to work for all of your delegates, yeah? Then after that, we actually set up number 2, and the order on here, I know it looked a bit odd doing them and pushing them down, but it's the way they get called, right? We've got to do that. Number 2 was then to have our delegate function, and maybe I'll make this one actually a multi-line comment just to make it easier. And let's do, I wouldn't write this in code, but it's just to go through it. Okay, returning our delegate type. Okay, so this was obviously notification delegate, and that's why we have to do this one first, because we're going to return one that we need to set up, and it's an anonymous function, and it does something with the argument that's passed. Okay, so that was part 2. Then part 3, make a void function, and then it takes the, again, correct me on the difference between argument parameter. I really struggle to remember. I really clearly understand. And again, actually, I will make that a multi-line comment. Okay, so void function, taking our generic delegate type. So again, remember, if we look at that, notification is a type of notification delegate, and notification delegate then takes a string. So we're passing a string to either email notification or SMS notification. So then the implemented delegate, which is this, either one of these, does something with that argument we've passed in. And then the last one is we need to call our void function, passing in one of our implemented delegate. And so therefore then we go from, let's say we call notify, passing SMS notification, notify, SMS notification goes in here. So then SMS notification is actually what's being called here. And therefore we're passing the string user notification to it. So on SMS notification, user notification is the text going in here. So, well, right, user notification is SMS. And that is it. Again, please tell me if some points that I've not explained clearly. And otherwise, remember that I'm always doing this as I go. I share as I learn. So I'm not pretending to be the expert here. I just want to share what I understand it and what I've got from tutorials and using AI tools. So if you like this video, Remember, check out my next video here for more, and I will see you there. Thank you for watching.